Welcome back to...
Welcome, guys. Rightio, welcome to another Jokey Yarns podcast. This is the first ever live podcast. So we've been camping. If you want to go over to YouTube, we've been Last Minute Livin. We've been doing a bit of a collab. So go check his channel out. And then for the third episode, it'll be on Jag the Joker. Thought we'd give doing a live podcast a go. So this could go terribly wrong or could go really good.
Definitely going to go terribly wrong.
So yeah, like, I can't remember, how did we come across each other? I think just, old dads and lads.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Big E-Dog.
Big shout out to E-Dog.
Hooked us up, you know.
He did, he did.
So yeah, just been yarning and, you know, followed each other on socials and, then made this collab happen. So been filming all day.
That's it, big day.
Yeah, a bit more filming tomorrow. Nothing's gone terribly wrong.
Yeah.
We've still got a day to go. So yeah, this is both on YouTube and Spotify and Apple and all that. So whichever you prefer. I strongly recommend going onto the YouTube because we've got a nice little fire in front of us.
Oh yeah.
We've got a light in the background that could potentially run out of battery pretty quick. So we could be doing the end of this podcast in the dark.
Yeah, struck for time.
Phone lights. And we have to stop every 29 minutes.
Yeah.
Because the camera only records 29 minutes at a time. So we'll get stuck into it. So we're sort of, like the idea of this podcast is about, you know, YouTubers and all that sort of stuff. And like, I guess all your smaller channels and, you know, going through your struggles, but also knowing a bit about you. So we'll sort of go to the start. Whereabouts do you sort of grow up and what area?
I grew up, we spent a few years in Perth, but we pretty swiftly moved up to York, which is about, an hour or so inland from Perth towards, in the east. But we went up there for a bit of a country lifestyle, so me and my brother grew up there, which was good fun, you know, riding motorbikes and just doing whatever.
My grandparents actually were in Beverley for a while there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, which we're out sort of that way of York, which was good, but just that country lifestyle. It's a different ball game. Wouldn't have had it any other way. So we grew up there and we were doing all sorts of kind of stuff, and then pretty much did majority of the growing up there. And then sort of headed back down to Perth for year 11 and 12.
Yeah, right. And you're still there now? Still based in Perth, or?
Yeah, still based in Perth. We not long, probably about a year ago, moved up the hill.
Yeah, right, nice.
Up to Glen Forest, so we still got sort of the best of both worlds at the moment, which is
shops and everything.
Yeah, that's it. You know, that's what you want. You want a bit bigger land. So you're not sort of sitting on top of your neighbours and that, and then still got all the shops accessible. All that kind of good stuff. So
where'd you sort of get into forward driving? Was that the York times, or was that sort of?
It's actually a pretty funny story, really, because I went down to a Muay Thai gym, which happened to be Seldy's gym. And I met Seldy there, and that was probably about 3 or so years ago now. And pretty quickly we caught on like a house on fire, and one day I was driving, I had a little Kia Optima, which my dad's got at the moment, and I pulled up the gym one day and he goes, what are you doing, mate? I said, what do you mean? He goes, what are you driving around in this Kia for? Like, it's a waste of time. He says, go get a forward drive. He says, I've got the jet ski. He says, you know, our other mates had motorbikes at the time, and he was like, go get yourself a forward drive and, you know, we can go up on all these trips and stuff. And I thought, all right. So, believe it or not, this is a true story. So, 2 weeks later, he rang me up and he says, hey, what are you doing? I said, I'm at a car yard. And he goes, what do you mean you're at a car yard? I said, well, I've been thinking about this forward drive thing and well, here I am and I'm buying a forward drive. And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, I've done my research, mate. I'm getting a forward drive and we're on. And he was just shocked at the whole thing, which is pretty funny because I'm sort of like jump at it full steam.
Go into it. And
a week after that, so about 3 weeks later, I had a forward drive and we took it for a bit of a burn just in the Nangara Pines, just for a bit of fun.
I've been there.
So we did that the first couple of weeks, which was cool. Got to test it out. And then I put some new tyres on it. And our first trip, we went out to Lancelin.
Yeah, right. Is that the Triton you got now? Or is that
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what I got now. Obviously, it looked a lot different back then. There is some pictures somewhere, but...
It's cool to, like I was saying, I was talking to you before, I got the N70 and that the same thing, I bought that stock, and it's cool to actually, especially when you look back at those photos, you're like, oh shit, actually, you know, a bit has been done to the car, you know.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's sort of what I got told, you know, to get out there, sort of use it stock and think, hey, that's going to be handy next time. So that's what I've been doing. And then, I mean, we did a couple trips, like I said, we did Lancelin, and then I went to... with our other mates, the Chizos, who were on the channel back in the early days.
Yep.
Some of the first few episodes, they've been sort of in and out. But yeah, we went and did a trip up to Coral Bay, and that was sort of my first big trip, you know. So we sent that all the way up there, which was we did an overnighter, and then sent it up, and obviously I was like, well, I'm taking a GoPro. So I went and bought myself a new GoPro and swam with whale sharks, all that kind of cool stuff. So that was all on camera, but sort of prospects of a YouTube channel weren't really going by then. And then, not long after that, Seldy said, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we just started filming stuff and doing a YouTube channel for a bit of a laugh? So... a bit of back and forth. We come up with a name, and a friend of ours happened to be working in graphic design for Channel 7, I think, at the time. So he did us up the logo and the whole intro and all that kind of cool stuff. So pretty lucky with that. But
you use what connections you have around you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so that's pretty much how we got into it.
Yeah, right. So was the idea to be, you know, like, you obviously got merch and stuff now. Was it like, what's your goals now? What's your goals for YouTube? Was it to go, you know, full job one day, or is it just, you know, you're just recording what you're doing, or? Yeah,
well, I mean, it would be nice to do this full time.
I think it's everyone's,
you know what I mean?
Everyone's dream to be a full time YouTuber.
Everyone wants to just live the holiday life and just like, you know, do whatever you can, which is great. But I'm not sort of holding my breath, you know? So it's not my end goal, but it's also not on the cards, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So
is that at the start when you started? Was it sort of did you have any goals when you first started, or was it just sort of
not really? We just
crack and see what happens?
We were just more to record, because the whole idea was we were doing it anyway. Yeah. So we were just like,
just carry a camera in your hand while you're doing it.
Well, I mean, the whole, you know, where Last Minute Livin came from was, you know, I'd be going to the gym, and then come Thursday, Friday, Seldy's like, what are you doing this weekend? And I'm like, nothing. What are you doing? And he's like, well, nothing. You want to go somewhere? And we're like, all right. So then we'd be scrambling like on Airbnb and stuff, trying to find places to stay and campsites and all that, which isn't the easiest task on a Friday when you want to go on the Saturday, you know.
When I seen your name, I was like, that is the best name, because even with this trip, where I'm always at, you know, like either fixing something last minute or modifying something last minute. I think so many people can relate to that name. You're either planning the trip last minute or you're, you know, trying to fix or modify something.
And I mean, it sort of plays into nowadays, like I'm sort of trying to sell more the fact that you can do these last minute trips, because it's so easy to sit on the couch and be like,
oh, you need
you know what, I'm just going to sit on the couch today, I'm not going to do anything, you know, where I'm like, hey, look, I've got a spare hour, where can I go, you know what I mean? So,
well, that's what I sort of, with our channel as well, like, it's a little bit different, but like with my car aspect, that's why the Sloth is, I've built it so simple, and it's like, man, this is a 1982 Hilux, no aircon, no power steering, no power. If I can get to all these places with such a simple setup and such an old car, there's no reason you can't do it as well.
Exactly right.
And also like trying to do it responsibly as well. But I think it's like you say, the Last Minute Livin thing, man. Like my father-in-law and all that, you know, when they were younger, they were same thing. They said, oh, you just chuck a esky in the back and you go to the beach in the middle of the night, you know. So it's such a relatable name. So was it just you starting the channel at the start, or did you?
Nah, so we was it was going to be me, Seldy, and the Chizzos type thing. Yep. And the Chizzos weren't too keen on like getting they didn't want to take away, like, if you're spending the time filming, you're not necessarily enjoying what you're doing. Yeah. You know, for some people, that's how it is. Like, I enjoy actually filming it. Like, I enjoy the process of filming it and then editing it, you know, things like that. And that's not for everyone, but me and Seldy went pretty hard for probably about just over a year, weekly, near weekly videos, which was pretty full on, you know. But like I said, he runs his own business, so you know, a lot comes into that. So he had to sort of step back and just let it be what it was. So I was like, cool. Yeah. You know, you've got things to do. You can't really blame anyone for that. And you sort of just, and I was like, well, you know, I'm sort of enjoying it, so I'm going to keep it going. So, yeah, whether that, you know, comes back in the future, like, you know, if we go out camping together, which we're going to do when we get the time, it's still going to be in the videos, and it's not going to take away from the fact that, you know, it's my channel or any of that kind of stuff, because at the end of the day, like, it's just fun. It's about getting out there, you know, with your mates, like, you know, like here, like, we're not like, oh, your video, my video, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, let's just enjoy it, film a bit of, you know, film a bit of shit and just put it all together, like, you know, that's what it's about, creating sort of the end product, you know what I mean?
So how long have you been doing your channel now? You know, years, or?
It'd probably be close to a year and a half, maybe. Yeah. Like, proper. Yeah. We did, like, I think we did a couple of videos around about this time, maybe 2 years ago. Yeah, right, yeah. But we sort of didn't really think about the whole aspect of how much work it takes to release weekly videos, you know what I mean? Crazy. You just think, oh yeah, you go out and film this and it's all good to go, but no. Like, our first video was literally, again, last minute. It was actually quite ironic because we'd done the shirts and all that kind of stuff just for our own pleasure. And I think it was a Sunday, and we've had a little group chat, and one of them, I think it was Seldy, put in there, and he's like, hey, what are you all up to? And we're all just like, nothing. And I think it was a picture of him wearing his Last Minute Livin t-shirt. And then he's posted it, but conveniently I was actually wearing the shirt as well. So I'd posted it in, and then the Chizzos had done the same thing. And he was like, what are you doing? And we're like, nothing. And then he's like, let's go do something. So we literally, the Chizzos loaded up their motorbikes, and that became our first video, which was the Mundaring power lines. We literally just drove in, parked up, had some lunch. The kids drove motorbikes around for a little bit, and then that was our Arvo. I mean, when you look back at it now, compared to what, 15-minute videos, a little 5-minute video or something that we did, the Mundaring power lines, it's come quite a way.
Is it? It's good aspect, I think, with your name too. It's not. I feel like you're not. I don't know if that's
pigeonholed type thing.
Yeah, like it's, you're obviously doing camping and a certain style at the moment, but you could go jet skiing or motorbike riding or boating, or so I feel like that's gives a very good aspect with that name. It's obviously it sort of tells in the name itself. It's Last Minute Livin. It's probably about camping, or
that's it,
enjoying life or whatever, however you want to say it. But it's a really good, I don't know if she's done it deliberately or not, but it's good not to box yourself into.
Yeah, well, we didn't necessarily do it deliberately. We did have a few names floating around. I can't even remember them, to be honest. They're probably there somewhere, but we did have a few names flying around, but it sort of just rolled off the tongue and seemed to be the best bet. Yeah. But you're right, like, probably one of the videos that's, I suppose, underrated on my channel is so my parents got me iFly indoor skydiving for my birthday.
Yeah, I've seen
the
that one,
funny thing is I actually had no idea about the whole thing.
Yeah, right.
And Seldy was like, hey, bro, do you want to go, you know, catch up and we'll have a steak sandwich after the gym? I'm like, yep, sweet, no worries. He's like, yeah, bring a spare change of clothes and we'll head out from there. I'm like, cool. So anyway, I've got changed and moved out and went to my car and he's whipped out the GoPro, you know, and I've had no idea, and he's just like,
what's going on here?
Right, Dylan. And I'm like, here we go. Like, what has this guy got planned? And yeah, we pulled up and he's like, I didn't plan it. And I'm thinking to myself, who has planned this? Because I just had no idea. And like my parents have said, oh, we're going shopping, and just thought nothing of it. And rolled up in the car park and yeah, there were my parents waiting, and you know, we did that, and I got to do the iFly. So having that all captured, which is something that's not camping, not outdoors, all that kind of stuff, but it's something that people should know about, I suppose. And you know, we interviewed the guy that jumped in the tank or whatever you want to call it with me, and you know, he'd had some pretty cool experiences. There was a couple of things off camera that he told us, which was pretty cool as well. But you know, it's just getting out there, meeting people, doing cool stuff.
Do you ever have any plans to, you know, doing sort of camp and exploring, you know, I don't know if you say touristy spots, but, you know, beaches? Do you have any sort of plans to maybe like go into boating, or, you know, maybe one day get a jet ski, or you just sort of take it as it comes?
Not really specific. Well, not at the moment anyway. Sort of take it as it comes. The sort of idea I had was that we'd sort of do, I mean, kind of like explore life, but not really. But my idea is to sort of recruit like a few different people that want to do this kind of stuff and sort of specialise a little bit. You know, it's like if there's someone that really likes fishing, that they could basically run their own channel, but through Last Minute Livin, if that makes sense. So they'd have their own sort of their own show. You know, but there'd be collaborations every now and then and bits and pieces, you know, and then not only does that take the pressure off them for making weekly videos, takes the pressure off me. You can make a video every 3 weeks instead of every week. So it was sort of to do a bit of that, and not only that, just sort of create a bit of a network, you know, and have a few people that like the same things or bits and pieces like that you could sort of draw on. And
there was quite a few channels doing that now, isn't it? Like biggest sort of channels, I reckon it's smart as, you know, like
100%.
It's expanded so much in Australia now. It's not you know, you'd have you know, on no shed life and you this and that, and but now it's, you know, got YouTube is going to different countries now, and it's cool to see. I think there's so much potential still. I know there's a lot of like 4-wheel-drive channels, and you know, the market is flooded, but you know, people building up. It's be interesting to see, you know, like YouTube in America is crazy. Like some of the stuff that, you know, it's millions of views. Like I was saying before, sort of, I don't know if it's burnout or what, but just sort of taken a bit of a, I don't know if you want to say back step, but I've been struggling to watch other YouTubers in the same area that I'm in. And so I've been watching a lot of American, just to, you know, something different. And it's so eye-opener, you know, like their videos, like every video is getting like 3 to 5. And
they're always like over the top.
And you know, like
crazy.
The Diesel Brothers or whatever it is, and watching some of it, they do recoveries, and you know, the dude owns a Black Hawk, and I'll fly over to do a video in his Black Hawk helicopter. Dude.
Yeah, America's a crazy place.
And you don't have those restrictions, you know, that massive trucks and this and that. So it'd be interesting to see the space with Australia, what channels pop up within the restrictions. But you were saying before about doing that weekly videos, which I reckon is crazy, because I do like fortnightly, and sort of been a bit slack lately, but even that, it's a lot of work. Like you're onto it all the time. So you mentioned before, you're saying you work away, so obviously a roster does help with that. But nevertheless, it's crazy amount of work. How do you find that? Like, is that going to be like hopefully forever for the life of the channel unit, want to do weekly, or you just sort of want to grow the channel then back off a bit? Or
well, I think logically weekly videos are your best option to grow. So I'm sort of trying to give myself the best chance to grow.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not expecting a million followers or anything, you know, anything crazy, but I want to at least give it a good crack.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm pretty much going to do it as long as I can. And when it gets to the point where I'm like, this is getting hard, because I mean, although you say, you know, rosters helps you out, but you've also got to know that I'm away for 2 weeks out of that month, you know. So I'm doing 2 videos a week, really, when you think about it. But
we have to film enough to be able to cover while you're away.
Edit,
and then,
do all that kind of stuff, social media.
I know, like, some people like edit after hours, and like, dude, I struggle with that. I need like a whole day to sit there. So do you edit at work ever, or do you?
Yeah, I edit at work. When I'm on night shift, I barely sleep, so works out good. I usually go to bed about 6:37. I'm usually up by midday.
Yeah, right.
So I'm just editing away. Then I go to the gym, and then I'll head to work.
Yeah, because I struggle with that. I've tried to do it at work, and I just, I don't know. I feel like I have to sit down for a couple of hours and to get into my little zone.
Yeah.
So I struggle with that. But still, like you said, you got to try and create enough content to cover that.
Yeah. Well, usually I'll try and at least have my videos done.
Yeah.
So when I'm at site, it's just, let's just punch out, 10 reels for one day. Little picture here or some little reels and stuff, put them all together, cool, no worries, and then, upload all that kind of stuff. So I try and keep it a little bit, a little bit easier on me when I'm at work. So I'm not because like if I miss social media, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But if I can make sure my video's out weekly, it's great because I've got a little bit bigger following on YouTube than I do the social media.
So
I don't quite get the reach on the social media as I do the YouTube.
It's hard, but do you struggle at the moment? Is there some weeks you're like, oh, dude, like it's hard to get this weekly video out? And do you ever have doubts? Like, fuck, maybe I'll just go like, I'll do a fortnight this week, or is it just,
for sure.
Yeah, is your head like, nah, weekly videos? Let's do it. Like,
yeah, I'm usually pretty good, but I do a lot of my planning at work. So that week that I'm away, I'm like, cool, Thursday do this, Friday do this, and I sort of work around that. But then you've also got to take advantage. Like for example, today, like this will be theoretically our 4th video. We filmed 2 on my channel, 1 on your channel, which will finish tomorrow, and now we're doing this. You know what I mean? So you sort of got to do that. So I try and do that a lot, just to get ahead. Because if I can make a couple videos in one day, it just takes that pressure off.
Like you said, you mentioned before, like you're doing a series. I don't know if you finished it, but you're doing a series, and like I said, you're packing your car.
Yeah.
I'm doing it anyway.
That's it. Quick and easy.
It's an episode that can go out.
Yeah.
So it's thinking smart too, I think.
Yeah. So, just to sort of introduce what was coming up, bits and pieces, just some people like it, some people don't. Some people want the action, some people want the camping, the fishing, all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you can't do that, So reviews come into it as well, which are quick and easy.
Yeah.
Well, to some extent, obviously, depending on what you're reviewing. But so we just do that. But when I'm on night shift, my parents aren't home. So usually I just go bang, 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 and I'll get 3, maybe 4 videos just in a week, I sort of use that time. So then when I'm coming back for day shift, when my parents are home, we sort of get to, I can just relax, and I can be like, hey, I'm going to film a video today. It's like, cool, film 1, relax a little bit, so I don't feel like the gas pedal's always on. Where when I'm home alone, I'm like, sick, well, what can I do? You know what I mean? Like, so it's just full send.
We're just about at a half an hour already.
Oh, perfect.
Yep, so we'll refill the drinks. You're going to get half an hour breaks because my camera, if anyone wants to buy me a camera that records longer, feel free to, but we'll be back in a second.
Oh, this fire is toasty.
Perfect.
Thank God we got it.
All right, we are back. So, talking about punching out content and it's not an easy.
No, it's not easy. No, definitely not.
I think you're very smart with, like you said, if you can find enough people to keep, like doing your like fishing or whatever. That's sort of how, not other people necessarily, but that's how I guess, and widening your audience. So
yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, so we've done like a couple of, I don't know, we've like made, you know, you make your playlists and stuff. So we've done, you know, Joker Industries, which is like mechanics, and you know, trying to do different sort of sections and widen your audience.
Yeah.
Do you think? I know some people. I don't know much about it, but how they say, you know, YouTube categorizes you, and you've like, you know, you've got to stick, if you're going to do fishing, you've got to do just fishing.
Yeah.
You know, wheeling, I just got to do wheeling. Do you think that's sort of true and wrecks your audience? Because I feel like, I understand probably to an extent YouTube does that, but
yeah.
you know, like some of these big channels like Full Drive 24/7, you know, they've got a caravanning show now, they've got a wheeling show, they've got, you know, all this sort of stuff. So I don't know, maybe while you're small, maybe it hurts you, maybe.
I agree.
But
I think while you're small, I think it hurts you.
Yeah.
Because realistically, YouTube won't be able to work out who to plug you to type thing. But I think once you get a following that the people sort of invest in you as a person rather than you as a channel, they start to be like, oh, this is cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wanted to sort of get to the point where, being Last Minute Livin, I wanted it to be like people basically sitting around being like, what's he going to do next?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, where are we going to go? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that?
Yeah.
You know, sort of guessing as to what's coming up next. I mean, it's a bit limiting now because obviously, I've got to go back to work and I've also got to be making videos. Like, if you watch any of my videos, I'm not the best fisherman, but I still put the videos out where I don't catch fish, because at the end of the day, there's probably a lot of people going out that aren't catching fish, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's just sort of documenting a little bit of what I'm doing and and creating, I suppose, sort of like a story towards myself.
Off camera before talking about that, like your reasons for filming, and it's cool. You know, I know that a lot of people can relate, and a lot of people do that. You know, a lot of people start out. I think so many Stevens start out not at all like not even promoting names. It's just I used to work with a bloke. He's still just stayed like that, but the dude's like 1,500, 2,000 subscribers, and he's like, all it is just him with mates and just laughing, and it's
just
like
messing around.
I'm like, he's like, oh, I've turned the monetization off. I'm like, what's wrong with you, dude? Like, I'm chasing that. I want that 1,000, but a lot of it's just how it starts, and there's so many people that do it just, you know, just getting that, what's the word, like, record all those recordings up there, that storyline of whether it's for you, your kids, you know, anyone, like you said, you got family overseas and stuff.
And that's like what I was saying to you before, like, you know, these days, how many people are, you know, going over to each other's house and looking at photo albums? There's not many, but if you could put a video on YouTube that's, you know, of something that not everyone can be involved in, you can quite easily put that up, share that on Facebook, Instagram, and all those people basically, well, my idea is to have all those people sort of involved in what you're doing without actually being involved. So, I mean, but you're right. Like, you know, sometimes it just happens. Like, I'm good mates with old Salty Fishos. So shout out Jimmy. I'll give you a shout out, not that you need
mate. That's going to cost you.
But, you know, I literally saw him, like I knew him before he'd even had a YouTube. And he was like, bro, I dropped my phone off the side of the boat and I lost all my fishing footage. Like, so he thought, you know what, I'm just going to film it and then I'll just put in a little edit with some music and just throw it on YouTube just so I can keep it and not, you know, so if I drop my phone in the water, it doesn't matter. And all of a sudden he just started getting hits, and then people started asking questions, and then he started answering the questions, and then they were like, oh, what about this? And then he started doing that, and then, you know, before he knew it, it sort of turned into videos, and, you know, he's doing pretty well for himself now in terms of fishing. But, I mean, he knows fishing inside and out.
You
know, that's a different thing. But, I mean, that literally started from nothing, and now it's it could almost be a full-time thing for him.
So many different people doing that too.
That's it, yeah, and it just
starts off and
it's just that one video, you know what I mean? It's like anything.
And we were also talking before we started about videos that we'll talk a little bit about the YouTube struggle, and you try so hard and you're like, this is the video, I love it, like 20 views. You're like, what the?
You've done some sick edit.
And then you're
good
like,
camera angles.
You're so proud. And then you do like this trashy video. You're like, oh, I don't even know about putting this one on here. It's pretty shit, Yeah. You chuck it on, then boom, like thousands of views, and you get subs, and you're like, what the hell?
Well, that's hilarious. Like, it's funny you say it. It reminds me, there's a video on my channel, and it's like, so me and Seldy we got up at something stupid like 4 o'clock in the morning. We sent it down to North Mole, like chasing this snapper. It's freezing cold. We've got headlamps on, beanies. I think I even had 2 jumpers on at the time. Like, it was freezing cold. And we went down and we literally spent 4 or 5 hours fishing, right? And got absolutely nowhere. And I said, that's going on the channel. It's literally just us just talking absolute rubbish for, I think it's maybe a 15-minute, like 12, 15-minute video. And we caught no fish. The title is North Mole, Where Are the Fish? And I think because North Mole was in the title, it's got like 2,000, 3,000 views. And like, it's funny you say that, when you're in that slump and you're like, maybe this is not the time. I need to stop making videos or whatever. And then all of a sudden this comment pops up and I see it and it goes, this is a great vid, right? And I was like, and then I looked at it again and someone had commented on a video where we caught 0 fish and said, great video, I loved it. And I was like, we didn't even catch any fish. I was like, how did you love that? And like, I would watch it and I'm like, nothing happens in this at all. And it's just, it's just stupid.
Like you said though, like you just said before, you post it, you catch no fish. There's other people that catch no fish. And I think as well, we were just saying before with being, doing different things within your channel, it's being relatable. Like, I'm not going to relate to someone that's got jet skis and because, I might, not necessarily you won't watch that, but if there's someone that's the same ute as me or the same setup or something you can relate to, people love that and are drawn to that. Will it be a struggle of like a simple thing, like you're catching fish. He's like, bro, I've been out there so many times. I've been there for hours, never caught fish. And you can relate to that. So I think it's I don't know, it's a good thing to be universal in that aspect.
It. But like I said, I'm throwing it up there because I'm gonna watch it, because I watch my video back all the time. I remember you said you're like, I can't watch them. I can't watch them.
I can't do it.
I watch them all the time because to me it's like, I went camping there and then this happened, and there's a lot of things that obviously happen off camera that you remember, So, like for example, when I went to Broome and me and my uncle disappeared out to the Fitzroy River, and there was some laughs. We went out there and we got smashed by the bugs, and that's pretty much as far as it went on YouTube. But following that, we packed the boat up, which was still in the water at 8 o'clock in the night. You know what I mean? And you know what Broome's like? There's crocs around, so. We pretty swiftly got that boat back on the trailer and literally just threw everything in the boat. And then, we're trekking back probably maybe, I think it was about 9 o'clock we must have left. And it's about an hour or so out of Broome, and we got to the fuel station, and because my uncle goes, I don't know if we got enough fuel to make it back to Broome. And he's like, I wonder what time this servo closes. So off we go, and we got there and he's filled up, walked in. He goes, hey, just out of interest, what time do you guys close? And they've gone, now. And we're like, thank God, because otherwise we would have been sleeping the night at the fuel station. But, then we got back into Broome not long after that. But, I watch that video all the time, and I'm thinking about what happened after. after we got attacked by the bugs, but obviously that wasn't on YouTube. And I mean, even another one like Sandy Cape, I did mention in there that a mate of mine got fairly bogged, but we were hooning along the beach, it was fine, and all of a sudden the car just sank, like it just went down, and then I was like, a reverse, and I was like, go again, and we got not much further, and then when the water started hitting the front tyres, I was like, give me your shovel and your Max Tracks. I was like, you stay in the car, I'll get you out. And I mean, I was pretty well overheated by the end of that one, but it's all those bits and pieces, you know, that weren't on camera that you remember. But for me, watching back those videos is good, you know.
It's very true. I made a bit of a music video. It was just since I've started the channel, all my drone shots and any half decent shots will just have music and you just have fun in the background. And I sort of got to the end, I was like, I wouldn't mind making this a bit longer, so I dived into some old footage. And it was actually at this lake right here, right now. There was like all these drone shots with my mate. I was like, man, that was years ago. And it's amazing the memories you get. But also one thing I wanted to ask as well, so that is awesome with you know, bringing back the memories, but how do you go with, and we'll sort of touch on this before off camera, do you find like you ruin your experience at the time filming? Like, do you sort of that focused on filming that you're like, God, I haven't even enjoyed this trip? Or because it's one thing filming with you today, I've noticed you're very I don't know how you explain it, like, I don't know, sleek's the right word, but you're like, you don't even know you're filming in the background. You're like, bombs off with the camera and you're done, and then you're back and you're like, and you're like, you get it all done, but it's not necessarily a big, like if you want to say big effort, still effort, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like it's
well, I try to make it as little effort as possible, because I suppose it's got to be raw and it's got to be, like, I'm not out here to create a blockbuster movie, you know what I mean? Like, I'm here to basically document what I'm doing. But like I was saying to you a little bit earlier, like, you know, if the video is going to be me with a camera on a selfie stick and I'm just going to walk around and talk or whatever, well, then that's what it's going to be. I don't sort of set any expectations of being like, oh, I've got to do this camera angle and that camera angle. I'm just like, in the moment, grab a GoPro, push the button, I'm catching fish or I'm not, or I'm getting bogged or I'm camping, and it's just, you know, bits and pieces, because, you know, not all the footage gets used. So there's also that as well, you know. So, you know, whether I'm, I don't know, doing a backflip over the fire, which I'm not going to be doing that. But
check for the bloopers after.
There's no chance. Depends how many of these I have.
We'll get it happening, guys.
But just, things like that. Like, I'm very... I want to you want to document it, but you also, I don't want to be spending that much time worried about what it's going to look like, because like I said, to me, it's like, let's just get it going. You know what I mean? So sometimes you can't get the drone up, sometimes you can, sometimes you don't want to, sometimes you miss it. You know what I mean? Like, there's all sorts of things like that, and sometimes you get lucky and you get the footage that you're like, yes.
Mint.
And then it gets 20 views on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Dogs, watch
it. But,
what camera gear, obviously I've seen bits and pieces, but what camera gear do you use? What cameras have got and drone and all that sort of stuff?
Yep, so again, I just keep it super simple. I started with a GoPro 9 when I went to Coral Bay.
Yep.
Obviously that was sort of my main handheld. And then I got a drone, which I got the Mini 3 Pro. Super handy for solo stuff, because I can I've got that follow me tracking and stuff like that.
Today I've got the old Mini 2. Here I am trying to hang on the steering wheel and fly at the same time, and old mate's over here just...
I can do... It's sort of like you can do one-handed control, so I can get a lot of cool shots with just one hand, I can drive at the same time. Not
that we ever drive and fly drones, guys.
It never happens.
Never happens. Hypothetically.
Hypothetically, if that were to happen, I could potentially drive and fly my drone at the same time. But there's that, and then obviously once Seldy got too busy with doing the channel, which, like I said, is hard, and hey, you move on. But I pretty much went out and bought a DJI Action 4, and in my opinion, they basically taken over GoPro very quickly.
Right, so good.
GoPro, I think, has spent a couple years just sort of just upgrading it enough.
Yeah.
But not doing anything groundbreaking, which obviously it gets harder the more complex your cameras get. But
well, I talked to I went into a DJI store in Perth, I think it was, and just window shopping, dreaming. But I was yarning to him, and it might have been the Action 4 I was looking at, and he was saying, I said, like, I've got GoPros and they're dog shit, bro. Like, and he said GoPro don't upgrade the guts of it. They upgrade like lenses and resolution and that, but the core of the camera, for anyone technical, it's the same, so it can't keep up, and that's why you have your charging faults, your freezing. Because I've myself got two, I figured out it was a GoPro's 11s because it tells you when you turn it on. But they're dog shit. Like, I've lost so, I was saying today, I lost so much footage on them. Yeah, you're charging it. Sometimes I'll put it on charge, and literally it will finish, and it'll like flat. I'm like, what the hell, man? It's been off hours, and you know, anyone that has these new GoPros are. So do you still have your other GoPro, or is it mainly just your?
Yeah, so I've still got my GoPro 9. Obviously, I roll with two just because. I mean, for me, it's just easier having two because I mean we saw it today, you know, setting up 2 or 3 cameras and you do something once rather than having to do it 3 times with one camera and move, you know, because that's YouTube's about camera angles, keeping people interested, you know.
Angle of the dangle.
That's it. But so I still got my GoPro, but I definitely prefer my DJI. So that's sort of my main camera. Especially on the selfie stick, in the car, all that kind of stuff. I sort of really now only use my GoPro for my chest mount. So obviously when we went kayaking earlier today, I threw my GoPro on the chest mount just because of the mounting system. Yeah. It works a bit better with the GoPro chest mount. So, just use that. But do
you have any plans to sort of expand and get other cameras and drones, or are you pretty just happy rolling here? I
mean, I've thought about it, but you know, like camera's something like what you've got, but the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking if I've got a camera like that, I can't just jump in to filming, you know what I mean? So I think for me, because you know, the GoPros and DJIs, like, they do a good enough job.
Yeah. So the technology
to be able to stand here with a selfie stick, film, you know, open air, and then dive into the water and it be fine. Yeah. Like, I think to me that's like the versatility of it is just way more handy.
Yeah, I think it feels, just watching you today, I think it really suits your style too, because you're not necessarily like setting up, you're just cruising along. That's it, it's just... I'll be walking with him and you just boom, like, oh, guys, we're filming. But it's cool, you're just so cruising. Like you said, you're just documenting what you're doing, you're not necessarily... I'm not trying to get it a big stage thing or anything. You're just like, we're just walking down this hill and just about falling over and there's a river here and you know, that's cool.
So but I mean, like, occasionally there'll be, you know, we'll set up like set up a couple of shots, you know, but
100%. You gotta look smooth, you know.
Yeah, it's just a bit of fun, mainly for our own pleasure rather than anything else. But that's really it. Yeah, you know, it's just about capturing the moment in the moment. Yeah, and like you said, it allows you to not be disconnected from what you're actually doing.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I definitely envy you with that one. Next one I sort of want to ask you, what's been your biggest struggle with doing YouTube? Like, it could be anything from cameras, editing, anything. Like, what do you think would be your biggest struggle with it?
I think the biggest struggle would probably be, I suppose, ideas. Yeah. Like, you struggle with, I mean, there's always something you can do, but to try and keep it fresh and exciting, and like I can always go to a different place or do something a little bit different, but at the end of the day, it does sort of become the same thing when you think about it, you know, like, yeah, I mean, and then I suppose after a while, like there's certain times where you're like, I'm just doing it to make a video, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes you struggle with that, but at the end of the day, you know, I've been on a couple of little hikes, you know, around Perth, like Les Minute Falls, Noble Falls, things like that. Sure, I was probably just doing it just to do a video, but I probably would have never gone to those places had I not just been trying to make a video, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that was the first time I went to Les Minute Falls, and that was probably about a year ago now, let's say, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd never been.
Yeah, I think
you know, you'd always hear about it, but you've never been.
Yeah,
I think that's a lot of people in Perth. Like, it's not until someone from outside of Perth is like, "Hey, I'm coming to Perth. What's there to do?" And you're like, I don't know. You know, because you never do it.
Yeah, I've been guilty of doing that in your own backyard. Yeah. Like, you know, first video on your channel we done today is at this mission, and I've been there before, but I haven't actually really explored it. And you're like, dude, it's like right up the road from here. There's a couple of things you're like, oh, dude, I actually haven't done that. Like, so it's and also the aspect of, you wouldn't have done it unless you're doing YouTube. We sort of touched on it before. Like, the cool thing about doing YouTube is you meet so many new people, and that's it. You know, like this wouldn't have happened if we weren't doing YouTube, or you meet some awesome people, and like you said, places like, you know, trying to think of these ideas, doing YouTube, you start exploring around more, you know, than your normal camping spot you'd be going on the weekend. But so how do you sort of plan with the ideas? Is it all just in your head? Do you sort of research, or just sort of go with the flow? Or
I try to keep it like true to the name, and it's a lot of just you know, I'll see something on Facebook or Instagram, or someone's done this or done that, or there's a place that I haven't been. Like, I've got a few ideas sort of sitting there, like I've got a little bit of a list that check that off, do this, you know, things that I haven't got to that I'd like to just go because I've seen them, or you know, someone's told me it's a cool spot. So I mean, I don't necessarily schedule it in until I'm at work, and then I'll be like, let's roll. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm just trying to keep it as on the fly as possible. But yeah, just see what happens really. But
go with the flow.
Yeah, it's all about, you know, going to those spots that if you'd never been doing YouTube, you know, you would have been sitting on the couch doing whatever, and you just go, you know what, well, today I'm going to go to this spot that's just down the road and check it out. Why? Because I've got a spare hour. You know what I mean? Like, rather than sit there and watch pointless TV. But it is kind of ironic, like making YouTube videos about going to a place and expecting people to watch you going to a place that they could necessarily go to, you know what I mean? So it's pretty funny, but but at the end of the day, I'll film it and someone will watch it and they'll never go there.
But I mean, it's not as well, you know, that might not happen, or, you know, let's say, for example, an extreme case of people up north, you know, like there's places up there I might not possibly ever get, you know, I'd love to, but you might not get there, or, you know, it might be the same down south, and or in that same case, it's people that are about to go there, you know, and then I've had videos in the past, sort of, you know, you've had a location in your name of your video, and because these people eventually, you know, they go, oh,
that's it,
we're going to Windy Harbour, all right, let's type in Windy Harbour. Oh, look, there's, you know, Last Minute Livin. It's I guess that bit of combination, but anyway, it's already just about been half an hour again.
Jesus.
So, I don't know, we're flying.
Oh, well.
There's an hour.
Let's wrap it up, I suppose.
No, we'll grab another beer and then, Keep rolling. I've got
Keep rolling, you reckon?
Plenty more questions, mate.
All right, well, let's keep rolling. We'll go for another break, and we'll see you
We'll be
back in a
back.
little minute.
Roll the ad.
Roll the ad. Devil's accessories. Get onto it.
Beanies.
Last Minute Livin, LML 10% off.
Righto, guys. We've decided to cut this podcast into 2. So part 2 will be next week. I hope you're enjoying it. Thanks so much for all your feedback and support, and we'll see you all next week.